Years and years and years ago, I knew a company and they had a CTO that they hired. And the CTO was not a technical person, had no experience in software development, in architecture, in computers, in anything related to technology. And they were the CTO because they were part of the founding team and they had a CEO and a CFO, CRO, and this person became the CTO. And they came from the industry that this company was starting up to go into. And so they had industry experience and they had experience creating the product that was necessary to produce to sell. So like really should have been probably titled like a COO instead of the CTO. And the scary thing that happened here was this person was making technical decisions that directly impacted the short term and long term. So this the tactical and strategic outlook for this business. Now, what do I mean by that? This company did what almost all companies did at that point, which was spend the first year and a half with a external agency doing software development. The company, the business had an idea of what it was that they needed to create in order to function and have a product in the market and what their disruptive product was going to be. And the agency had to execute and create the what now we would call MVP. By the way, don't do an MVP for 18 months with a few $1 million in overhead. And the agency would come back to the CTO because the CTO was running the project with the agency and ask the CTO questions like, hey, should we do X? Should we do Y? Should we do Z? We've decided this is what we've decided to do here. We've decided to do that. We decided to do this other thing. And the person would be like, yeah, okay. Yeah, sure. Okay. I don't know. Sure. Now, scary thing about that was because there was no technical understanding, there was no understanding of the decisions that were being made, and there was no ability to understand impact to the business long term. So fast forward a couple of years, and the business needs to make a pretty significant pivot. But guess what? The business finds out that it can't pivot because its technology doesn't support any flexibility or any alternative or any change. Now, listen, you can have the best people working for you and you can fall yourself in this problem. And without getting too specific and naming names, I'm trying to paint a picture here. Everything that happened to this business was avoidable in terms of understanding, like, what if we want to make this change? Well, if you've been involved in any IT systems or technology or anything, you understand certain changes are just inevitable. And even if you're not accounting for them up front, you're kind of making plans for them in the back of your head. How do you do these things? And it's something that's really stood out to me for years because this becomes a really interesting thing when you try to hire. When you hire both, I'll say specific to your IT and technology teams, your engineering teams, but it applies, of course, everywhere within the business. You need a mix of people that are outsiders, that are newcomers, that have no experience and have no background and have no jadedness with the industry in order to give you a fresh set of eyes. But you also need people that have been there. And you can hire these people and you can bring them in-house and they can work for you. And you can bring in advisors or consultants or contractors or use whatever terminology you want to use. The nice thing about having an outsider present is if they're doing this for lots of companies all at the same time, they're going to see a big picture of what is going on in your industry, in your segment, at your size, in general arcs, right?